You're listening to the micro version of the Savage Lovecast. www.savagelovecast.com.
If you're stuck in a relationship quandary, or if you're looking for sexual harmony, well, there's nothing you can't pass on the Savage Lovecast.
I haven't read Jordan B. Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. And full disclosure, I'm not going to read Jordan B. Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. I've never really been into books full of rules. It's one of the reasons I walked away from the Catholic Church in my teens. Also never been into the kind of people who write books of rules or insist that their book full of rules has all the answers. I got through the 1990s without reading The Rules, Time-Tested Secrets for Capturing the Heart of Mr. Right, which was a phenomenon then. And I'm pretty sure I can get through the teens, or whatever we're calling this decade, without reading 12 Rules for Life. And pretty much for the same reason I didn't watch Two Girls, One Cup. Everything you need to know about some shit shows, you can learn reading about them. You don't need to buy a ticket and show up for the shit show itself. So anyway, I was reading about Jordan B. Peterson, a.k.a. the most influential public intellectual in the Western world right now. Reading about him this weekend in the New York Times. Peterson, if you haven't been paying attention, and I wasn't until very recently, is a psychology professor at the University of Toronto who rose to prominence when he refused to use or protested being compelled to use trans and gender nonconforming students' preferred pronouns. Peterson is a big proponent of patriarchy, male dominance also, but that's the same thing, isn't it? And hierarchies, aka male dominance, patriarchy, same things, because lobsters or something. And he rails against the left because of the left's supposed devotion to equality of outcomes. All right, first, it's equality of opportunities the left supports, not equality of outcomes, but you only have to look at the current inequality of outcomes to know that we haven't achieved equality of opportunity. So outcomes is relevant when you talk about equality of opportunity. Anyway, zooming out even further, change is scary, and it makes people anxious. And nostalgia for the 1950s, which Peterson endorses and promotes, nostalgia for simpler, more harmonious times that were neither simple nor harmonious for the people living in them then, it really is the big bottle of Xanax. Might make you feel a little less anxious, but nostalgia, like Xanax, is also going to make you stupid, suggestible, and easily misled. So anyway, I was reading about the Jordan B. Peterson shit show in the New York Times this weekend, a terrific piece by Nellie Bowles, look it up, and I wanted to share this bit. Violent attacks are what happens when men do not have partners, Mr. Peterson says, and society needs to work to make sure those men are married. He was angry at God because women were rejecting him, Mr. Peterson says of the Toronto incel killer. The cure for that is enforced monogamy. That's actually why monogamy emerges. If the cure for men who kill women is women landing one or being assigned one, then how do you explain away the results of the Centers for Disease Control study that found that 55% of women who were murdered between 2003 and 2014 were killed by current or former romantic partners, compared to just 16% of female homicides that were committed by strangers? So Peterson would have us believe that men kill because they don't have partners, at least straight men do, and the solution to that, the fix for that, is to assign these men partners and enforce monogamy. And then you would have to enforce it because you would be assigning these men women who didn't partner up with these men willingly, which is some serious Handmaid's Tale shit. But again, women are likelier to be killed by their male partners than by anyone else in their lives, so it would seem that having a partner isn't, quote-unquote, the cure that Peterson would have us believe it is. We've seen 3 incel attacks in North America since 2009. George Sodini, Elliot Rodger, Alec Manassian. And between the 3 incels who attacked, they killed just 21 people. At least 3 women are killed by their male partners just in the United States every day. 3 or more. Which means husbands and boyfriends, men with partners, end the lives of more women in a week than incels have ended in the last 9 years. Half the men fail, Peterson told the New York Times, and no one cares about the men who fail. You know what? I care about the men who fail, and I spend a lot of time talking to men who are currently failing at relationships, at sex, at love, and I feel their pain. I empathize. But telling them that the fix, the solution for their pain is to return to the 1950s or to enslave women, neither of which is going to happen, that's not helpful. That's not how you show these men that you care about them. Because that is not going to happen. Again, it's not going to happen. Helping those men who have succumbed to toxic masculinity, to this idea that they are entitled to women's bodies, attentions, and that is, thank God, hashtag not all men, encouraging those men to have realistic expectations and helping those men who do want to mate to figure out what they're doing wrong. That's helpful. That's how you demonstrate to these men that you care about them and their plight. It does involve, however, telling people, men people, things they may not want to hear. And that quick fix bottle of nostalgia Xanax, it's always going to be a little more tempting than taking personal responsibility and doing the hard work of unlearning the harmful bullshit found between the covers of any book that claims to have worked out all the rules. All right, coming up in today's show on the Magnum subscription edition of the Savage Lovecast, twice as long and no ads. Subscribe at savagelovecast.com. Inka joins us to talk about porn by and for women. And on the micro edition, free with ads, half as long edition of the Savage Lovecast, tons of your cues, lots of my A's, all that coming up on today's show. This episode of the Savage Lovecast is brought to you by Everlane, luxury basic clothing and accessories made at ethical factories without those retail markups. For free shipping and to support the Lovecast, go to everlane.com/savage.
This episode of the Lovecast is brought to you by the good folks at Squarespace. They make it easy to build a beautiful website, blog, or online store. Head on over to squarespace.com/savage for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use the offer code SAVAGE to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
This episode is brought to you by Hims, the one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, and sexual wellness for men. Get a trial month of everything you need to keep your hair for just $5 by going to forhims.com/savage.
Hi, Dan, Nancy, and the at-risk tech-savvy youth. I'm calling from a rural state. I'm a cis female, almost 30. I am out as pansexual to my husband, who I've been with for 9 years, and most of my friends also know that I'm pan. My question is, should I be out to my family? Now, my husband and I are monogamous with no plans to change that. I don't really have a desire to change that, but I know that there's a lot of a need for bi and pan visibility in the world, especially for those people who are presumed to be straight. I am very much about squashing preconceived notions of people, and I think there's a lot of stigma around being bi and pan that needs to go away. And as a pan person, I'd love to do my part, but is it too much to come out to my family as pansexual when really it doesn't mean anything as far as my relationship or future relationship?
We like to say here in LGBTQLSTFLIQ again IA land that nothing undoes someone's LGBTQSLFTIQ again IAA phobia like knowing someone who's queer. And that there are people out there who know queer people, they just don't know they know them. And sometimes that's because the gay man they know at work isn't out at work or is closeted in every aspect of his life, or the lesbian aunt that they've had forever who lives with her dear friend isn't out. Or they know people who are bi or pan who are in opposite sex relationships who aren't out and who read or are read as heterosexual despite the fact that they're bi or pan. That may be the largest group, the single largest group. Most people who are bi or pan, and some people use those terms interchangeably, some people don't. I'm sure we'll get calls, but most people who are bi or pan, according to a Pew study, aren't out to, quote, the most significant people in their lives. It would help with bi and pan visibility. It would help with the LGBTQ civil rights movement if everyone who was bisexual or pansexual and in an opposite sex relationship would tell their families. Even if it doesn't mean anything about being open, that you're not going to bring home a bonus girlfriend, just so that they know. just so that you don't disappear into presumed or perceived heterosexuality, just so the family that you have in your life who may not know any other queer people know that they know and are related to and love at least one queer person, you. Can't complain about bi or pan invisibility if you are an invisible bi or pan person. You can help change that, and you should. And it will change nothing about your relationship status now, but as the call from earlier in the show proves, life is long, partners pass away. Even if you guys go the distance, even if you guys are together for life, you may have a new partner at some point in the future. Better your parents and your friends and your family know that you're bi-pan now, so they know that they know and love a queer person, and that affects how they vote now and what politicians and policies they support now. Also, best that they know it now, because who knows? You may find yourself single again later in life. I would rather be out now than have to come out 20 years from now or 30 years from now when I'm with someone new because my partner passed away and I'm in a same-sex relationship 30 years from now. So yeah, be the out bi-pan person that your family knows and loves. Be a part of the bi-pan invisibility solution by making your pan ass visible.
Hi, Dan. I'm a 24-year-old bisexual man living in New York City. I had a question about being open about bisexuality. So most of my friends, actually pretty much all of them, know that I'm bisexual, but one of my friends said the other day, not about me personally, but about another bisexual man that she knew, that she wouldn't date him or have sex with him because he's bisexual. And I guess that made me think, it seems to me a lot of gay men don't want to have sex with bisexual men, and a lot of women don't want to have sex with bisexual men. So do I have some kind of obligation to come out to them as, to potential partners as bisexual, or is it a moral failing if I don't? Or is it just none of their business?
It is indeed a moral failing. If you can be out and you choose not to be out, you are indeed then part of the problem. Not everyone is in a situation where they can be out. I don't think some people won't sleep with me if I'm out is a situation where you can't be out. You, as a bi guy, you don't want to be with long-term, short-term, 2 minutes, someone who doesn't love and accept you and know you. One of the perks of a long-term relationship is to be with someone who knows you inside and out, your flaws and everything that's awesome about you, and that you just feel completely accepted and loved by, despite the fact they know what the fucking farts smell like in the middle of the night, and they know what you're irrational about or insecure about, they know what you're good at, and they stay, and they choose to be with you after they've gotten to know you for who you are. I can't imagine the stress of being with someone where you had to hide your sexual orientation from them all your life. That isn't an option that you should want to keep open. It's not that you don't get to sleep with those people, those women who don't date bi guys, or those gay guys who don't date or fuck bi guys. It's that they don't get to sleep with you. Just like I tell kids who are coming out to their families, don't fear your family's rejection. Make them fear yours. Bisexual folks, don't fear the rejection of people who won't sleep with bi people. Make them fear yours. You're out to most of your friends. Congratulations. Awesome. Good job. This woman who said this ignorant, semi-bigoted, preference-y thing in front of you, that was your moment to come out to her. You should have come out to her. Arguably, friends being friends and the way friends talk and gossip about each other, she might already know that you're bisexual and have said that shitty thing in front of you and should have been called on it instantly. It's not too late to call her on it. Bring it up. Say, you don't have to date anybody you don't want to date. Nobody has to sleep with anybody. No one is owed sex from anyone. CC incel community. So she doesn't have to fuck you, and she can have her reasons. But her reason isn't going to cost any bi guys a decent girlfriend. It's going to cost her potential decent bisexual boyfriends. She would be a lousy girlfriend, lousy wife for a bi guy. So you wouldn't want to be with her anyway. At least not now. Maybe she'll have a rethink. Not that you're interested in her. I'm not assuming you're interested in her. But maybe if you come out to her, she'll have to examine her prejudices and preconceptions about who bi guys are. Because she said that to you thinking you weren't a bi guy. She probably wouldn't have said that if she'd known. This is your opportunity to speak the fuck up. Just like a gay guy who doesn't read gay and somebody says something homophobic in front of him can really shatter someone's perceptions of who gay men are by saying, excuse me, I'm a faggot. You could really bring her around just by speaking your truth. A truth that you already have spoken to other friends. So tell it to her. Give her a call, send her an email, send her a text. You know that thing the other night? Just so you know, I am by myself. Not B-Y myself, B-I myself. And you know what? There may be a bi guy out there who is your perfect partner, and you could wind up B-Y yourself because you weren't open to dating him. So, something to think about, lady. Getting dressed doesn't have to be complicated. Everlane makes it really simple. They go to the best ethical factories, produce premium products, and then sell them directly to you without traditional markups. Everlane only makes premium essentials using the finest materials without those, again, traditional markups. And they tell you their real costs, so you know you're never overpaying. Everlane wants you to know what you're paying for and why. They are radically transparent about every step in their process, from the materials they use to the ethical factories they work with. Because Everlane sells directly to you, their prices are 30 to 50% lower than traditional retailers. Everlane's clothes look better, cost less, and last longer. Essentials like their linen t-shirt are exactly what they should be. Simple, stylish, and made from quality materials. They have a huge variety of denim, hoodies, t-shirts, shoes, just your basic, good-looking, high-quality stuff. And right now, you'll get free shipping on your first order when you go to everlane.com/savage. That's everlane.com/savage. everlane.com/savage.
Hi. So my question is, how do I regain trust with my significant other after what I'm about to tell you? So I am in a new relationship with a man who is significantly older than me. There's a 21-year age difference, and he has a son my age who lives out of state. Well, this weekend, he wanted me to come by and meet his son, who happened to be in town. And I typically spend the night when I come over. So I came over, met the son, had, friendly, casual conversation with him. And then I went to bed and woke up sometime later with my significant other in bed with me. We were fooling around and started having sex when suddenly I feel my ankle being grabbed and my toes are being sucked by someone other than my boyfriend. Turns out his son had come into the bedroom and was, assaulting me, violating me. I'm really not sure what was happening, really not sure how to proceed, and then makes the comment, "You sound so good," and walks out of the bedroom. Well, because of the way we were positioned, my significant other could not see what was happening, and so of course I told him. He was shocked and said we should go confront his son, but I didn't want to. I was really rattled, and he said he would confront him without me, and I didn't want to be left, so it didn't happen until after I left several hours later. I just feel violated. I'm confused. I don't know if this was some kind of weird setup. Anyway, I'm not really sure how to proceed. I've not had any indication from this guy whatsoever that he would put me in the type of situation that would be unsafe. So I'm just confused.
The fact that you suspect that this might have or even could have possibly been a setup, that sets the bar really high for this guy that you've been seeing. Sets the bar really high for continuing to see this guy. Unless he warned you in advance, and he didn't, he would have mentioned if he had, that his son had mental health issues or boundary issues or had some sort of problem that spilled over in him not being able to respect other people's boundaries. And if that was the case, why doesn't your boyfriend have a lock on the inside of his bedroom door? Then my gut tells me, my suspicion tells me that this, tells me what your suspicions told you. Could have been a setup. dad might have known that son was gonna do this. Maybe this is their extremely creepy MO. The fact that the kid was able to sneak into the room and grab your ankle and suck your toes and say something without dad hearing anything. You had to inform him that his son was in the room, sucking your toes and saying things in English out loud, full sentences that you at the top of the bed could hear, but somehow your boyfriend was incapable of hearing. And that this went down and he didn't immediately charge into his son's room and explode in a rage. Yeah, there's all sorts of red flags. This is a May Day's parade worth of red flags here. And if I were you, I would tell the boyfriend that it's over and you are not interested in pursuing this relationship any further because you don't feel safe with him or safe in his house because of his son's actions and also because of his reaction to his son's actions. Didn't exactly leave you feeling safe, left you suspecting that you were set up, that he knew that this was going to happen. You should say all of this to him. And then in this breakup conversation, you can weigh his reaction. If he makes a persuasive case, which, be careful, and here's the caveat, a lot of sociopaths are very persuasive and charismatic and can make a case and convince somebody that the sky is green and the grass is blue. If you give them enough time on the phone or enough face-to-face time, they can have you doubting your sanity and your read of the events. So bear that in mind as you speak with him. But if he seems in your conversation just as appalled and his son is no longer welcome in his home, perhaps in a neutral place like fucking Switzerland, you can meet with him again and see how you feel then about going forward. But the only thing he could possibly say that might persuade you, that might get him over that extremely high bar, is that his son has mental health issues and impulse issues and boundary issues. And he meant to tell you, but wanted you to meet his son first without being prejudiced against him because of the mental health issues. And he was going to roll that out slowly. And now he realizes what an enormous and colossal mistake that was. And he's so sorry. And there's a lock on his bedroom door now. And oh my God, he's speaking with his son about it and speaking with his son's therapists and counselors and blah, 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 blah about it. And he's mortified. But if that's not what comes out of his mouth, don't fly to Switzerland to meet that guy. But that's just the alternate advice. That's not the advice that I want you to take. It just feels like the advice I ought to give you, so you have some options here. But the only option, really, the only option here is to end things. This is just too great a violation of your person, indeed, a sexual assault that happened in your boyfriend's bed, perpetrated by his son, and in such a way that you can't know for sure that your boyfriend wasn't complicit. His actions after you informed him that there was somebody else in the room would seem to point toward complicity and duplicity, not cluelessicity. So, pull the plug. Run. Screaming.
Hey, are you a creative type? Sure you are. You can turn your cool idea into a new website or showcase your work so easily with Squarespace. They make it a breeze to crank out a beautiful, professional-looking website or blog, or even an online store, leaving you more time to do what you're best at. They have templates that were created by world-class designers that you can just drop in and it looks good right away. And they have built-in e-commerce so you can set up a store. Everything is optimized for mobile right out of the box, and they have great analytics so you can see how your project is growing. So make it yourself with the help of Squarespace. Head on over to squarespace.com/savage for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, use the offer code SAVAGE to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com/savage and use the offer code SAVAGE.
Hey, Dan. I'm a 20-something straight white girl in college. I live in Austin, Texas. So a couple months ago, I crashed one night at my old guy friend from high school's house after a music festival that I went to. When I got there, it was late at night. Him and our other friends from high school were drinking and smoking weed and we're just generally sort of getting fucked up. I was really tired from the concert, so I wanted to go to sleep early, hung out with them for a sec. And then my friend said that I could sleep on his bed because they were all still out in the living room and he didn't want me to sleep on the couch because they were all out there. And I was like, oh, thanks so much. That's awesome. Thank you. I was totally down. because I grew up with him. I went to high school with him, but I also grew up with him. I've known him since I was like 7. Felt totally safe, really comfortable. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. So I go to sleep in his bed. I wake up in the middle of the night to him like groping my boobs, kind of trying to take off my shirt, pinching my nipples. But I was like facing away from him, so I couldn't see if his eyes were open. Anyways, I stayed totally silent and still. I just laid there until he stopped because I was really freaked out and scared, and like it was just super creepy. And I obviously wasn't awake. It wasn't like he thought that we were like starting to hook up. Also, he knew that I was dating someone at that point, and that like we never showed any interest in him. We had, I guess, had like little crushes on each other when we were younger, but not in years and years and years had we ever done anything like that. But anyways, so I woke up really early the next morning, drove home, called my friends, was like, what the fuck? And then I decided I was going to text him and be like, hey, last night what you did was fucking creepy, and I can't believe you did that to me. You can't do that to people. I've known you for so long. Why would you do that? And he responded with what, to me, felt like was a really sincere apology and like explanation that I think I believe and still believe. And he just said that he had been really fucked up and also kind of asleep/dreaming, like he'd gone to sleep really fucked up, woken up in the middle of the night, kind of half asleep, and done it without knowing that he was actually doing it, like he was kind of dreaming. I mean, I don't know. I've initiated sex like that with my boyfriends in the past, where I wake up and I'm kind of like, oh, I don't know what's happening, and then we start having sex in the morning. I'm like, did we have sex last night? So he could have been doing that, which is the thing that happens. So I accepted his apology. I still believe him, but I told my boyfriend all of this. And he got really upset and said that he thought that my friend from high school was 100% lying. There was no way any of that was true. It was all bullshit. He wanted to just like feel me up and is now disguising it as this accident. So my question is, what do you think? Do you think he was lying?
Listening to your call, the first thing that came to mind was that Margaret Atwood quote, "Men are afraid that women will laugh at them. Women are afraid that men will kill them." Which is often why women freeze in a situation like you described. This person came to your bed, sexually assaulted you, and you just froze and hoped it would stop. And indeed, it did stop. And it was a kind of passive de-escalation strategy that a lot of women engage in and deploy in a situation like you describe. And people who don't understand men and women, the different ways they're socialized, the different ways in which women are terrorized, and the fear of sexual violence that women live with day after day after day, will look at your actions that you're in the moment and wonder why you didn't tell them to stop, jump out of bed, why you waited until the next day or a couple of days later to, from a safe distance, text him. And to those people, I say it might be because, well, men are afraid that women will laugh at them. Women are afraid that men will kill them. That's not what you asked about. You asked what I think. And I think you could be right. I also think your boyfriend could be right. I think you are giving your old friend the benefit of some very, very grave doubts. It is a thing that happens. Sexomnia is a thing that happens. And you, looking into your own life, recall some moments, incidents where you were drunk and fucked up and initiated sex in a kind of half-dream state. And you are willing to give this person with whom you've had this long relationship the benefit of the doubt and believe him when he says that that's what happened for him. And that is exceedingly generous of you. It is also possible that drunk and fucked up and yet still responsible for his actions and fully cognizant of everything that he was doing, this person, your old friend, sexually assaulted you, took advantage of you. The only person who knows for sure exactly what was going on for your friend in that moment is your friend. And while I think it's possible that it went down the way he claimed, your friend claimed, and the way you're willing to accept that it went down and you're willing to give him the benefit of the doubt and forgive him, I think you have to err on the side of believing your boyfriend's read for your own protection. This is clearly someone that you can't be alone with. This is not somebody who you're safe with in the middle of the night in their apartment when they're fucked up or when they're not fucked up. If you want to continue to have a relationship with this person, and if you want to sustain this friendship, that is your choice. You can give him the benefit of the doubt. You can forgive him and accept his explanation. Going forward, though, this is a thing that happened. This is a thing that he did. Whether he did it intentionally, per your boyfriend, or he was fucked up and sleepwalking in a half-dream state or a sexomniac, you aren't safe alone with this person, and you shouldn't be alone with this person at any point in the future. And there has to be some accountability. If he did this to you, it's possible he did it to others in your social circle. I would, if I were you, speak to other friends. Silence is the great enabler of these sorts of violations, as we have seen throughout the Me Too and Time's Up era movement. And so you should check in. You should engage with the Whisper Network. Because if this is something that he's done with others, if there's a pattern here, then your boyfriend is absolutely right. And you'll need to cut this person from your life. If you check with other women that he knows, you check with other women in your social circle, and this is indeed an aberration. He has never done anything like this so far as anyone that you know knows. Perhaps he deserves that benefit of those very grave doubts. Although we have said on the show that bald men are sexy men, and they are, or you are, we also know that a lot of you would like to keep your hair for as long as you can. 66% of men start losing their hair by age 35. But you know what? When you start to notice hair loss, it's too late. It's easier to keep the hair you have than replace hair you've lost. Fortunately, there is a solution. forhims.com. It's a one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, and sexual wellness for men. They offer medical-grade solutions, real doctors offering well-known generic equivalents to name-brand prescriptions to help you keep your hair. It's not herbal supplements. Down with herbal supplements. Rather, it is prescription solutions backed by medical science. Up with science! Another benefit, you don't have to go to the doctor's office, so no waiting room, no awkward doctor visits. Save hours by going to forhims.com. You answer a few quick questions, the doctor will review and can prescribe to you. Then they mail your prescription directly to your door. Order now. My listeners get a trial month of everything you need to keep your hair for just $5 today, right now, while supplies last. See the website for full details. This would cost hundreds if you went to a doctor or a pharmacy. Go to forhims.com/savage. That's FORHIMS.com/savage. forhims.com/savage.
Hi, I'm a 26-year-old girl from the West Coast. So for about 3 years now, I have stopped eating pork products. And I feel kind of stupid even bringing this up, but it's just a moral choice. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I am not vegan or vegetarian. I simply just don't eat pork. Now, go back to 3 years ago when I kind of, not announced it, but it just kind of came up in conversation with family. I got comments saying, am I a liberal now or am I a Muslim? And I almost fell out of my chair. How does not eating a certain product of meat make me a liberal or Muslim? It's not about religion. It's not about politics. It is simply just a moral code that I want to live by. I don't want to preach to anybody listening on this call, but, I just have my reasons why I don't want to eat that specific animal. This gets brought up in almost every meal I have with my family, and they will purposely order pork products and try to shove it in my face and go, try this food. And they'll also be like, but bacon is so good. And I don't care what they put in their mouth. I have never preached to them what to eat or how they should live their life. And I really don't feel like they should do that to me. But it's getting on my last nerve. It's been about 3 years now, and I still get comments almost weekly from my family about it. In addition, I am married, and my husband was fine with it at the beginning, but lately he's been really bugging me about making bacon for Sunday morning breakfast. And, I told him, your money is your money. You can go buy bacon. You can make bacon, but I'm not going to be making it, and don't make me eat it. I don't know, Dan. I just want to know what you think. It's kind of ridiculous, and it's so irritating. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Usually I hear from people who are having sex with pigs or have a problem fantasizing about sex with pigs, not people who have a problem with eating pigs, and a problem with apparently being married to an asshole related to nothing but assholes and working with assholes. It's fine that you don't eat pork. There are a lot of people out there who aren't Muslim, Not there's anything wrong with being a Muslim who doesn't eat pork, or Jewish and don't eat pork, or vegetarian and don't eat pork. There are people out there who eat everything else but pork because pigs are known to be very social animals, highly intelligent. They actually make great pets. There are studies that show that pigs can tell themselves apart from other pigs, and pigs have pig friends, and blah, blah, blah. And so people won't eat pigs for those reasons, because pigs are basically fat pink dogs. So what do? Well, you could marry someone else. You could refuse to discuss the issue with your family. You could flip off all of your coworkers, or you could, I don't know, acquire some dog meat and ask them all to eat it, or suggest that that's what you're going to do. You don't eat pork for the reason you don't eat pork, and you shouldn't have to justify that or explain it to anyone. And the fact that all of these people, as so many meat eaters are, and I say this as a meat eater, reacting defensively to someone who's choosing not to eat one particular kind of meat, nothing worse than somebody who is a meat eater, as I am, who takes it personally or is offended or feels judged in some way by someone who is a vegetarian or a vegan who doesn't eat meat. And there are scoldy, horrible vegans out there. There was a vegan who went viral for blowing up at some woman online because she bought a kid an ice cream cone that wasn't vegan, so she's a fake vegan, or a complicit in cow slavery vegan. That was a fun moment on the internet, distracting us from the Trump atrocities. But on the flip side, there are some annoying meat eaters out there who feel like they're being attacked if everyone around them isn't shoving every different kind of animal product down their throats at the same time that they are. I don't know what to tell you to do, though. If everyone around you, at work, at home, and in your bed at night, is an asshole about this, they're probably an asshole about a whole bunch else as well. Sound like they might be anti-Muslim bigots on top of everything else. So make better friends, find better coworkers, hang out less with jerky family, and tell your husband to knock it the fuck off, or you're going to get yourself a brand new husband who isn't an asshole. And the next time you have a food-related question, I might suggest calling the Splendid Table instead of the Savage Lovecast.
Hi, Dan. I'm a polyamorous woman in my mid-30s from the Pacific Northwest. So I have a question about period sex. I've been seeing my boyfriend for about 7 months now, and the other day we were about to have sex when I told him I was on my period. Then he said he didn't feel comfortable having sex with me when I was on my period, which was a little confusing because we've actually had sex a couple of times on my period in previous months. So we talked a little bit more, and he said that he just has a really strong aversion to blood, and he had tried to push past that with me, but he just never felt completely comfortable. So I've never really had a partner refuse to have sex with me when I was bleeding before, and I just felt really hurt and rejected at the time, like I was being punished for having a natural bodily function that I have no control over it. So here's my question to you, Dan. Do you think that period sex is one of those things that should come standard in a relationship, like oral sex? Also, is it really common for guys to not want to have sex with girls in their period, or is that something you think guys should just sort of push past to please their partners? Oh, and lastly, does anybody else out there have any experience using menstrual discs like Flex or Soft Cup for supposedly mess-free period sex?
So what leapt to mind while I was listening to this call is, I don't want to have anal sex with Terry when he's got the runs, even though that's a natural function, sometimes afflicts us all. But I thought I might run that past you because I'm sure that's not the analogy or the comparison that women would welcome.
That's not the analogy that springs to my mind.
What is the analogy that springs to your mind?
Oh, I don't have an analogy. I think you're bringing me on here because you think that I'm going to say that he should just deal with it and fuck her while she has her period. But I don't think that. I think he's got a right to be grossed out by.
That's what I was going to say. I was thinking in my head, blood for some people is just really, there are people who faint at the sight of blood.
Yeah.
And women, of course, because from puberty onward, have this intimate relationship with blood, and it's richly symbolic of womanhood for many women. And of course, you don't have to have a period to be a woman, and there are people out there who are women who don't have periods and don't have uteruses.
Poor Dan, listen to you.
I know, but for many women, it is deeply meaningful, and to feel that it repulses a partner, your sex partner, I can see why that would be hurtful. But projecting yourself into the man's experience, a dude who doesn't have sort of an intimate experience with blood on a monthly basis, who doesn't associate it with their sexual expression or gender in a profound way, yeah, I could see a lot of guys arriving at period sex being a little freaked or squicked.
Yeah, you can't blame them for that. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I kind of love it. I sort of feel like, yeah, I'm bleeding. Ooh,
warm, bloody, and tender, the Rachel Lark song that I love.
Yeah, but for some men that like can't deal with that, that's fine. She came up with her own solution at the end. This one's easy. Those cups are great. I've been using them for years.
And they work.
Your partner, yeah, they totally work. Your partner may never even know. So just cap it up, get going.
So our ruling, the not triumvirate, there's only two of us, the duoumvirate, is that it doesn't necessarily have to come standard. That guys who are squicked out by period sex, that's a thing a guy is allowed to be squicked out by. And there's nothing sexist about it, necessarily.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think there's anything sexist about it. I think it's worth a man like really trying to think it through.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're grossed out by it, then that's okay. It's fine.
And there are workarounds. Outer course.
Yeah.
Those discs or cups.
Yeah.
Oral sex in place of.
No.
I mean, not like
that doesn't work, Dan.
Well, if you have a tampon in and
no,
Mm-mm. And you're just focusing on the clit.
Oh no, that would be weird. That would be uncomfortable. I think maybe some ladies enjoy a tampon session.
And the dude can floss while he's down there, and you can kill two birds with one stone. Just like run and brush your teeth afterwards, and you're ready for bed.
I'm feeling yucky right now.
Well, thank you for jumping on the mic for a second to speak from the period having perspective.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. That was Nancy Hartunian, Savage Lovecast producer from episode number 1 and period haver. And I dragged her in.
Bleeder.
Breeder bleeder, even.
Hi, Dan. I'm a 60-year-old straight guy from a small East Coast town. I've been divorced 6 years, and then I did the online dating thing for the last year. So I've been dating my current girlfriend for about 4 months, and almost everything has been great. We have good sex. We communicate extremely well. She's crazy about me. But I wonder if I'm being superficial when I find myself unable to fully commit because of two of her physical attributes. First, she's overweight, but she is working on it. And second, she's had a double mastectomy without reconstruction. I'm trying to figure out if I should just suck it up and be grateful that she's in my life, whether I should say something about the possibility of considering an invasive and serious medical procedure for a cosmetic purpose. I often encourage her to exercise, and I think we both understand that to be my concern about her weight, but I have not said anything about the fact that she has no breasts. I wonder if a heterosexual guy like me is simply hardwired to be turned off by this, or whether I should be able to get over it. Do you have any advice about whether, how, and when to bring this subject up with her?
You ask if you should be able to get over it. The fact that your girlfriend of 4 months, who you're already mowing about her weight, didn't get reconstructive surgery and doesn't have breasts. Doesn't have replacement breasts for the ones that were removed because cancer. And you mentioned earlier in the call, before you ask if you should be able to get over it, that you have a good sex life, a great sex life with this woman, despite her weight, despite the fact that she chose not to get reconstructive surgery after her double mastectomy. So you can get over it. Every time you're with her, every time you're intimate, you have proven to yourself that you're capable of loving her in the body that she's in now and having a great and awesome sex life with this woman as is. 4 months is too fucking soon. 4 months is too soon to be mowing someone about their weight. I think it's great when partners inspire each other to eat better and to move more and to get out of the house and be active. But mowing, bitching at somebody, dragging someone over the coals or just dragging them constantly because of their weight, not okay, not cool. And you do identify this conflict that you're experiencing as rooted in selfishness. And that's good that you're able to correctly identify the selfishness at root of this. And I don't want to drag you for liking boobs. Boobs are very important to straight guys. Straight guys like boobs. Straight guys are indeed hardwired to like boobs. You can also like a person so much that the parts of them that have been lost to disease, the parts of them that are scarred, the parts of them that have been carved off, and life has a way of carving shit off all of us when you get to be in your 40s, 50s, 60s, sometimes even earlier, to love someone and have your genuine affection for them and your attraction to them that can carry you over a disconnect and help you bridge something. That's really one of the ways that love proves to us that how powerful it is. That a guy who likes boobs, who is attracted to women, can be with a woman who doesn't have breasts because Life is a way of carving chunks off of us the older we get. The question you shouldn't ask this woman if you want to address this subject isn't, hey, would you please go get breasts stapled to your sternum for me 'cause my dick? The question you ask her is this. You chose after your double mastectomy not to get reconstructive surgery. What informed that decision? And then just shut your fucking mouth and stop thinking about your dick and listen to what she has to say. I bet she was aware of reconstructive surgery. Most women who get a mastectomy or a double mastectomy are aware of reconstructive surgery being a choice for them. Many women experience that not as a choice at all, but it's something that they must do to feel like women or be perceived as women. She obviously didn't feel that way. She didn't make the obvious and what for many women who have had a mastectomy or double mastectomy is the default choice of getting reconstructive surgery. Stop listening to your dick for 5 fucking minutes and listen to her. I bet she has very good reasons why she didn't make this choice. I bet it is very traumatic and very difficult for her to talk about the reasons she didn't make this choice. So when you have this conversation with her, it has to be or seem to be motivated by concern and genuine interest in her, not concern and genuine interest in your own fucking dick. And who knows, maybe what you're going to find out is that she always wanted reconstructive surgery and couldn't afford it. Maybe that's where you come in if you guys stay together over the long term. Or maybe there's a reason why she didn't want to do it. Maybe there's a medical reason why she couldn't do it. And if you love her and want to be with her, you may have to love and be with her as is, just as she loves and is with you as is. No 60-year-old man is in mint condition either.
Hi, Dan. This isn't a question, but it's a comment on show 603, where the man whose girlfriend is terrible at giving head. It didn't seem to suggest that he had considered the possibility that perhaps she just hates giving head and is intentionally terrible at it to see if he will stop asking her to do it. I appreciate that you are constantly reminding your listeners that our society socializes women to be deferential to men and to be very careful at how lightly they tread on their egos. And so it's not an uncommon thing for women, including myself, because I hate giving head, to pretend to be terrible at something sexual that they don't really want to do because they think that if they are honest with their partner, that their partner will either not take it well, could possibly be violent, probably not in this particular situation, or there could be some other really negative consequence that they are trying to avoid passive aggressively. So maybe he should ask if she doesn't want to do it and give her the ability to opt out. Perhaps she'll change her mind, but he should ask her that first before jumping to any other conclusions that she should perhaps get a class on her technique, because that's not going to help.
Hey, this is for the caller with the super really high sex drive. If his dopamine problem is ADHD, like I have, medication can help him a lot, because I know he said he had a dopamine problem. So basically, I was self-medicating with sex and masturbation and even just looking at pornography. It got those sex hormones in my brain, and I just felt better, more focused, especially after sex or masturbation. It would relax my brain. My thoughts would be more clear, and my mind wasn't racing anymore. So if this is your problem, if it's ADHD, definitely get medication. It will raise your dopamine levels to something where you can concentrate better and not be as sex crazy if it's possible.
Hi, this message is for the caller on episode 603 who is struggling with his preference for Asian men. I'm not an Asian, bisexual, or gay man myself, but I am a biracial woman and I completely sympathize. I've had a natural attraction to white men for my entire dating life, and even though I've gone out with men of every color, the attractions that stick are always in that first category. I've been called every name in the book: Oreo, whitewasher, abandoner of my culture, and I've even been accused of trying to whitewash my future children. None of this is true, but I just wanted to show solidarity and support to you. Dan's advice was right on point. As long as we examine our desires and don't dehumanize anyone, we all deserve to love who we love. I also don't think you should force yourself to have sex with people of other races just to prove a point, because that will dehumanize those people in the reverse fashion. Anyway, I just wanted to say you're not alone. Hang in there, and best of luck.
2 quick bits of business before we get to, and we're going to leave it there. First of all, Joan Price is the person who said that it is better to be alone because you're alone than alone because you're with the wrong person. I credited that comment, which I love, to Dossie Easton on a recent Savage Lovecast. It was Joan Price who made that insightful observation. Thank you, Joan, and I'm sorry for the misattribution. Also, if you are on the East Coast or in New York City and you are looking for Couples Therapy, an award-winning documentary film company is seeking couples to be featured in a multi-part documentary about couples therapy. If you're interested in learning more, apply to couplestherapydocumentary.com. And we're going to leave it there. 206-302-2064 is the number at the Savage Lovecast. If you'd like to record a question or a comment for a future show, give us a buzz, 206-302-2064. Follow me on Twitter at FakeDanSavage. Follow 4Play Films on Twitter at 4FOR Play Films. And follow Joan Price on Twitter at Joan Price. The Savage Lovecast is produced every week by Nancy Hartunian and me and the tech-savvy at-risk youth. And Nancy, I'll be back at you next week with an installment of the Savage Lovecast. Thanks for downloading.